I wanted to come to this next training here on finding career fulfillment and just give you all of the advice you need to ace your next interview in one go. So, if you have an interview coming up, or you are in the midst of a job search, or even thinking about one, watch this video and I'm going to tell you how to get to the offer by acing that interview. Stay tuned. Hello, hello. Welcome to my little corner of the internet where I, Sarah Curto, career coach, help you with my weekly free trainings go from dreading every day to loving your life and your work by dropping these free trainings that teach you all of the nitty-gritty of what I learned as a career coach for the past 5 years and a recruitment and HR professional for the 15 years before. Never mind my mental health and counseling and psychology experience and background. This channel, I don't know, in my opinion, is gold. So I think you should subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. I don't know. I just love what I do. I'm just so tickled that I was able, through my own process, to find this career where I get to help you, where I get to help with my clients, 500 plus over the past 5 years, to find work they love. And the many of individuals who have got help just from watching this YouTube channel and all of the videos that I provided. I don't know. Thank you for being here. It makes me very happy. Okay. Acing your next interview. Today, I want to walk through the 5 key steps for success in an interview so that you get that offer and, not one of those thanks, but no thanks. We went with somebody else emails. We want you to get the offer. Okay. So the very first thing is prepare for the worst. This is like really showing my hands of my personality. I am like a prepare for the worst type individual. It has served me really well. Yes, sometimes I get a little anxious, but a lot of times it actually allows me to handle those like difficult times with relative ease and calm and confidence. And the worst can happen in an interview. Nerves can get in our way. Rambling can get in our way. Not knowing how to answer a question can get in our way. I find when I have prepared for these things that could probably happen, I've actually been able to handle it with ease, with grace. I am not blowing up the entire interview. I've talked about these in more detail, so click some of these links that I'm sharing so that you can go learn specifically how to prepare for some of the worst case scenarios that could happen. Tip number 2 is I want you to know who is interviewing you. This is key. There are many different types of interviews, and in those type of interviews, people have different motivations. So the person who's doing the telephone pre-screen with you has very different motivations than an executive has interviewing you, and everyone in between. So you need to know who is interviewing you so you can understand, what are they looking for? Are they looking for me to demonstrate that I can do the job? That's the telephone pre-screen. Or my fit in some capacity. It's hiring manager interview, peer and team interview, a human resources, behavioral based interview. Those interviews are looking at your fit within the organization, within the team, within the vision for the role. Or are you interviewing with like a business group you would potentially be supporting, or an executive? Then their motivation is not, can you do the job or can you fit within whatever? They're like assuming that's done. All they care about is, will you make me successful? Can you make my life easier? So knowing the motivation of the interviewer allows us to know what kind of questions that they may ask allows us to know how we might want to answer some of those questions, and the different tweaks that we would have with our answers and our stories for those specific individuals. So knowing who's interviewing you is tip number 2 to acing that next interview. Tip number 3 is know your stories. So speaking of stories, you got to know them. I want you to not do this. So I know I did this, and I know many people do this. You have an interview, you Google top 25 interview questions or behavioral based questions, and then you come up with answers to every single one of them. Time consuming. Yeah. And then the problem is then if they don't ask one of those questions, they ask like a slightly different question, and our brain is like, wait a second, I didn't prepare for that question, and it shuts down. And then we have one of those worst case scenarios happening. Oh, yeah, let's not do that. Instead, let's know our stories, all of the things we accomplished, all of the challenges we overcame. And some of those interview question lists can help you figure out what your stories are. But what I want you to do is take a story about a mistake you made, or a deadline you missed or almost missed, or a big accomplishment that you had, a project that you managed. Think of that story, and then think about the skills that you demonstrated in that story, and then think about the type of questions that they could potentially ask that would lead to that story. Knowing this, like it's like reverse engineering it, means that they can throw so many different questions at you, and you'll like, got it, got it, got it. You have the answers like at your disposal, ready to deliver. So know your stories, don't know the interview questions. But tip number 4 is we do need you to know how to answer some specific tough interview questions that get answered or asked a lot. So I'm talking weakness questions, strengths question, the money talk, the mistake talk, the deadline talk, like all of these difficult ones that we're like, well, what do they want? How do we answer that? Knowing how to answer those specific type of questions allow us to go in and masterfully and confidently answer them. Now, I've got you. I have a free interview guide that walks you through the formulas and of how to answer the toughest interview questions out there. And I talk about why they even ask it, what they're looking for, what they want, what they don't want, and then how to answer it. Like it is all encompassing. The link to grab that is below. And then tip number 5 is ask questions at every single interview. If they say, do you have any questions? Ask some. It doesn't matter. Like literally ask questions. So many people said, no, I don't think I have any questions. Hiring managers hate that. They want someone who is curious, inquisitive. They want someone who's interested in the job. And asking questions shows that. Plus, an interview is a human conversation. It's like a conversation between two humans, both figuring out if they want to work together in some capacity, which means there are certain things that you need to know to decide if this is the job for you, the company for you, the manager for you. You need to ask questions in order to find that information out. So asking insightful questions not only gets you the information you need to make a decision, but let me tell you, it's like the lasting impression. The questions you ask is the actual thing that the interviewer is leaving the room feeling. And when you ask insightful questions, they get so excited. They love it. So ask questions. Okay, to recap, how to ace your next interview is prepare for the worst, know who's interviewing you, know your stories, prepare to answer those tough interview questions, and then ask your own questions. Now, don't forget to grab my free interview question guide for all of those tough interview questions. Also, consider joining the Career Love Academy. So many people have joined who have had months of failing interviews, and like literally within a month, they've got an amazing new job, and they're not even accepting a lowball offer. Like it will fix the issue. So the link to do that is also below. And I will see you here next week for another training. And I keep hitting my microphone. Thanks for your patience with that. I apologize. But I'll see you here next week. Have a great one. Take care. Bye.